Welcome, World INFINii. My name is John Kinner. I'm the Vice President of Marketing. It is my distinct pleasure to be here for the next 30 minutes, sharing some details with what I think is going to be one of the most exciting offerings this decade for those of you that are interested in really creating something special for yourself, regardless of whether you're already involved in a business from home, regardless of whether you already have a background in technology. This is an offering that truly is available and accessible to everybody. And so I want to give you just a very basic background in regards to the world of INFINii. We've been beta testing some platforms that INFINii has been using now for a couple of years with some absolutely overwhelming results. And if you're a guest, you wouldn't be aware of those results, but you certainly will be by the end of this presentation. I'm going to share some things with you that give you a little bit of background. At the same time, I want to make sure you understand very clearly what the vision is for this enterprise and where we're going in the very near and the distant future. Before I do, though, I just want to talk a little bit about the world and the current state that it's in. The reality is that there is a revolution that's happening, and it actually is affecting every single one of us, regardless of where we live in the world. I mean, literally regardless. Whether you're living in Africa, whether you're living in Europe, North America, or anywhere else, this technological revolution is finding you, and it's having an impact on your life. Now, it's having an impact on some very positive ways, but at the same time, there are groups of individuals that are also getting caught in a bit of a pinch as we're seeing this shift from an industrial revolution, where we manufactured everything that we consumed often in our own countries, where that's being shipped abroad, and these technologies are starting to fill that vacuum. And so depending on what you do or what you've done for a living or what your skill set is, you may find yourself a little bit panicked and a little bit displaced. And we're seeing it absolutely happen all throughout the continental US. It's happening as well in Canada, and it's certainly happening in Europe. And so this unprecedented time, though, is also opening opportunities. And I want to share just two examples to give you a very quick idea of not only the opportunities that are presenting themselves, but the kind of impacts that they're having and how quickly they're having those impacts. First of all, Uber for your phone that all of you are aware of, regardless of where you live. Uber is something that's accessible to you. Here's a company that literally in 2009 started going head to head with a century-old industry, and that's the global taxi industry. And regardless of where you live, but depending on the country you live in, there is very much a monopolistic approach to our global taxi industry. And certainly you would agree that it's probably would be a very tough industry for a newcomer to crack into. But Uber has done it. Not only have they done it, but they've done it in an amazing way with a market valuation, according to the Wall Street Journal, of over $50 billion. And they've done that in a very, very short period of time. And likewise, Airbnb has stormed onto the scene starting in 2008. Now, by contrast, the Hilton hotel chain, this global mega chain, hotel chain that probably has, well, not probably, we've seen some of the real estate that the Hilton hotel chain has, and some absolutely amazing real estate in some of the most beautiful corners of the planet. That has a market valuation of just over $19 billion. This website called Airbnb that owns no real estate has a market valuation, according to CNN Money, of over $25 billion. How have these two examples been able to do what they do, especially in such a short period of time? Well, as the world has become more connected, there are more opportunities for us to find their services. And if you simply make sure the needs of the consumers are being met effectively and efficiently, then you're going to have this kind of success. And what Airbnb did, of course, they connected travelers with home and apartment owners that maybe had a room free, or they were on vacation and wanted to fill their apartment or their home for a week while they're on vacation and turn that into a moneymaker. The bottom line is Airbnb was aware of a need. They filled the need incredibly effectively, owning no real estate at all, and have generated results that, to be quite honest, pre-2008, I don't know if I would have ever imagined this would have been possible. So the fact of the matter is the world is extremely interconnected, and it's only becoming more so. I'm in Canada, and recently high-speed internet was just deemed an essential service, if you can believe that. So regardless of where you live, Canada is the second largest landmass in the world. We have a very sparse population, And regardless of where you live in the country, it's your right to have a high-speed internet connection. So you're starting to see it everywhere. Now, I want to also share where this technological revolution is having an effect on the way that we shop, things that we buy and where we go to buy them. Here's an example. Now, this is, I believe, in Asia, this shopping mall, but you're seeing this happen all over the world as well. These very, very large shopping malls with these chain store anchors that we grew up with, that are just a staple of our childhood memories, are absolutely being shattered. And if you have a look at the bottom of this slide, again, in 2015, this is a CNN statistic. In fact, more than that, this is a fourth quarter of 2015. So this is 2015. This is a very recent statistic. Now, these are brands that we all know well, and I'm talking about Walmart, not Walmart.com, but the physical locations, the department stores for Target, for Macy's, for Sears, for Best Buy. These are brands, even if you don't live in the United States, these are brands that many of you would be familiar with. Now, the fourth quarter of 2015 is what? It's the shopping season for holidays. And these are the types of numbers that these massive stores were seeing. Absolutely staggering. But while retail businesses are really getting caught in this technological shift, and many of these box stores and giant stores are shutting down, there is one sector of the economy that's absolutely exploding. And this is a brand name that I'm sure you're all familiar with. Look at the contrast. Up 117% of the fourth quarter of 2015 is Amazon. So you're seeing this huge movement from offline to online. And these companies like eBay, Google, Facebook, and Amazon that are responsible for much of this e-commerce activity are seeing 15 to 20% increases year after year after year, which is really quite mind-blowing. But again, we're in very much a transition, and there is an opportunity we're going to share with you in about 5 minutes of how some of these dollars that are being spent every single minute of every single day can actually end up in your pocket. As crazy as that sounds, it's absolutely possible, and it's been happening for our members now for 2 years. I want you to imagine just for a moment these very large multinational companies all working for you. If they were actually willing to find customers for you, process payments for you, talk to those customers for you, and even support your customers that they found for you, if they were able to do those things, would that be exciting for you? It certainly excites me, the possibilities of it. I mentioned this shift from offline to online. What we're starting to see happen is these very large department stores are actually being caught in a bit of a pit, as new department stores that are strictly online, like Wayfair, and there's so many of them, are actually starting to take up many of the sales that Sears, for example, which is a department store I grew up with. Sears is closing locations absolutely everywhere. And so there are brands now that you are familiar with, brands that you did grow up with, that are rapidly bringing on eCom divisions so they can make sure that they keep that customer loyalty that they built over, in many cases, they built over decades. So what we're starting to see in this shift is e-commerce is now becoming a $1 trillion industry. In fact, it's actually starting to affect the world unilaterally. So regardless of where you live, as we talked about just a moment ago, you're starting to see this huge shift to e-commerce. And in fact, the list you're looking at now are the top 10 e-commerce producers in the world. And take a look at this map. You've got the Southern Hemisphere and the Northern Hemisphere, and all across the world is actually being affected, which is really quite remarkable. Because when you look at trends, often trends are regional. They're national, they could be continental. We're seeing a trend now that's gaining so much momentum, and it's global. And the reason is this interconnected technology is also global. It's affecting everybody. Now, there's a researcher firm called eMarketer that's actually projecting that our global e-commerce sales will eclipse $3.5 trillion within the next 5 years, which is absolutely staggering numbers. So the question I would pose to you is how much of, I guess the real question I would pose to you is, would you be interested in having a piece of that? I want to show you now just how easy and accessible some of that money that's happening, that's being spent every single day, is accessible for you. So what our system does, without inventories at all, or without significant upfront costs, or without traffic generation, or without any shipping or management skills or responsibilities, you're able to participate in a model that is absolutely proven to the tune of $2.5 billion in sales in our first 2 years. Now, $2.5 billion. This is our member sales. So these are members that are using our platform and creating incredible success for themselves. In fact, that $2.5 billion, it's not listed here, but that's well over $400 million in profits to our members. And more than that, the INFINii members that are using these technologies, using this software, and using this education are earning six times more and 7.2 times more than individuals doing the same activities online in eBay or Amazon that are not using our platform. Those are really impressive numbers. And if you take a look at the screen on the slide right now, you can see on this laptop or this monitor screen, here's an example of someone doing a search for Tiffany style lamps. And all of the different opportunities that pop up. The community that I live, for example, in Canada, it's not a large cosmopolitan city of multiple millions of people. And so if I wanted a Tiffany style lamp to create a little classic office or a little reading nook in my home, well, there'd be no opportunity for me. And now I can simply get onto one of dozens of sites and do some price shopping and make sure that I'm actually accessing the very best possible price for something that normally wouldn't even be available to me. So I want to give you a quick example of how this system can do remarkable things. On these two tablets are very similar, but not exactly the same, very similar iPhone 6 carrying cases and wallets. So if you open these up, there's a place for credit cards, but there's also a little stand if you want to watch a movie on your phone. Now, while they're not identical features, they're very, very similar, but one of these was available on an international site for less than $4. And the other one is on Amazon.com for $28.99. Now, when I went and looked at these products, believe it or not, the Amazon products ranged all the way up. The highest that I found was $54. And it was for a product that had exactly the same feature for feature as it did on the website that I found from another part of the world. So what our system actually enables you to do is find these items from one location and actually sell them on another location where there are literally hundreds of thousands of consumers going to look to spend every single day. Now, the best part about that, though, is the software that's built ensures your profitability, tracks all of your sales for you, and really makes a process that you may consider daunting a very simple and straightforward process. In fact, so many of our members are generating profits their very first month in business. And the best thing is you can see at the bottom sentence, you really can start to scale this business, not only with the number of units you turn out, but the different types of product, the list of products that you're representing within your system. Now, I want to just talk for a moment about a company that, of course, everyone listening in, whether you're a member or whether you're a guest, is familiar with, and this A with the smile underneath it is Amazon. Amazon is an absolute monster now, but some of the heritage, or rather the roots of Amazon, are very, very humble beginnings. In fact, this is meant to represent the garage door of Jeff Bezos, who was the founder of Amazon and ran that company from his carport for many years. In fact, if you remember far enough back, and you probably don't, it was really just books and electronic books and recordings that Amazon was selling. That's it. And so I remember looking at Amazon when I had first heard the name, and I pulled the site up, and it didn't particularly interest me. I like shopping for books in bookstores and looking at the physical book, reading the back cover before I make a purchase. And so I really didn't give Amazon a fair shake. And it wasn't until many, many years later, after it had turned into this absolute behemoth that is spanning the globe, I realized what this interconnectedness is doing, and the fact that we're able to access these things from phones at any time. And it's really enabling this industry to become such a remarkable game changer and the biggest trend absolutely of our decade. So with that, with those very humble beginnings of what's become a name brand, I really want to share a little vision of what INFINii is going to be bringing to the table for you. First thing is our INFINii marketplace. Now, you would consider Amazon, just so you know, the marketplace, I knew was a new terminology for you. Amazon is a marketplace. And what that means is that not only does Amazon sell products on their own, but they also allow you and me and anyone else to sell products that we have through their portal. And so it becomes a money-making endeavor for them, and they simply charge a service fee. I mentioned earlier to you Sears, a department store that was near and dear to my heart growing up. It's very familiar, or Eaton's. Sears is closing locations all over North America. And what they originally started doing was becoming a .com, as we mentioned in the offline to online slide 3 minutes ago. And they quickly realized there was more of an opportunity becoming a marketplace instead of a .com, and that's what Sears has become. So if I have items that I wanted to put inside their portal because they already have .com customers, I'm open to and able to do that. Sears facilitates that for me and simply charges a service fee. Now, this marketplace is a little bit unique. You can see it next to the check mark. You can rise above this crowd, this e-commerce crowd, by accessing price-protected wholesale prices and literally hundreds of thousands of items for you to choose from. Now, the advantage, there's a twofold advantage. First of all, by making this a members-only wholesale marketplace, one of the things that we're able to do is we're able to allow manufacturers and wholesalers to list their entire catalogs of products inside this environment, because they probably, many of these manufacturers and wholesalers obviously already have retail channels. They already have contracts they've signed, and they have to protect the retailer. And so if this was an open to the whole world, then we would not be able to bring many of those products into this environment. But because this is members only, and when you become an INFINii member, you have access to literally hundreds of thousands of wholesale price protected products that you have an opportunity for significant profits from. The other thing that you'll see is if you go down one, INFINii vendors, down to the third one, INFINii vendors is actually an opportunity for you. If you know individuals that are in the wholesale industry, or perhaps even know individuals that are manufacturers, you can help those wholesalers and manufacturers align with our marketplace, and you even have an opportunity to earn a profit anytime one of our members now is buying from a vendor that you helped load into the system. So a lot of opportunity there for income. INFINii Stores is not going to be available to you yet, but is coming very, very soon. And it's another opportunity, instead of selling products only on Amazon, eBay, Bonanza, Alibaba, etc., it's also an opportunity for you to build your own custom store and share that information with friends. Facebook, Twitter that information out to your friends, blog about it, YouTube videos, or even when you have friends of coffee, pull up your and blow them away with some of the deals that you have. And then, of course, at the bottom is a network. Now, what's remarkable about INFINii Network is it's only been available to our members for a little bit more than 60 days now. And we have actually our CMO, Kevin Hokuwana, who has a lifetime worth of experience in generating contacts, generating leads, finding individuals that are interested in something and connecting them to the source. And what he has a real skill in doing is taking what normally I think you and I would consider a fairly complex process, and he's brought that down to its most simple form so that our members now, literally in the last 60 days, have generated tens of thousands of leads, individuals that are looking for what they have. So if that's something that interests you, building a business abroad with strangers that you perhaps have never even talked about before, Kevin will teach you in INFINii Network how to have your own funnel and how to have your own landing pages and start to share your opportunity with total strangers. So there's 3 different ways to access our platforms. The first is a Prime membership. And Prime membership really is going to give, first of all, it's going to give you software, proprietary software like the Advanced Listing Creator, Bonanza Listing Creator, and even an eloquent product research. Someone like myself, for example, who had very little e-commerce experience, this would be an opportunity for a piece of software to show me what the most popular items are all around the world. And so I'm starting to point my business in the most profitable direction right from day one, and I'm not having to learn from the School of Hard Knocks. So this gives me opportunity, or videos and PDF trainings on setting up accounts on Amazon and Google and eBay, and all the basic things that I need to get my business rolling. And that's a $50, $49.95 a month platform. My next step from there, though, first of all, it's important for you to understand that everything we've talked about in Prime is also going to be included in this Surge platform. So where Surge takes your business is that next level, boosting traffic to your business, really starting to understand Facebook, Amazon, YouTube in more detailed ways, different ways to monetize your business with Shopify and WooCommerce, even more proprietary software, more video training, and really getting into the advanced e-commerce strategies that are going to start to increase your monthly earnings. And then, of course, in this case, Surge, which again includes Prime, is $149.90, and you get 150 BV that's generated for your sponsor when you get involved with Surge. And finally, our third platform is Excel. Now, Excel is a platform that is being used by all of our most successful students, all of our most successful members. These are members that literally have created, well, I would have to say it's well beyond life-changing, into the tens of thousands of dollars of profit a month. And this is absolutely something that you're going to be able to do for yourself as well. So you're going to get into really understanding how to leverage the profit, or leverage other sellers within this whole ecosystem globally for profit, importing products, branding yourself, really moving your business to the ultimate level where you're actually starting to build your own brands. And of course, again, all of Prime and all of Surge are also included in your Excel membership. And 2 more proprietary pieces of software will also be received with inventory management and a repricer. And again, all of this is laid out to you in a very simple, easy to follow video training format and PDFs as well. So with that, what I would like to do is make you aware of a rewards plan. And this is a rewards plan that once you've selected a platform that's most appropriate for you, whether it's a Prime, Surge, or Excel membership, the next level is deciding which of the people within your sphere of influence would you like to begin this journey with? Would you like to share this business with and start walking through the whole process of not only becoming an e-commerce earner, but starting to build a network of your own that will continue to grow well beyond your local economy, as all networks tend to do. So our INFINii rewards plan is a very simple 4-point plan, but it's very powerful. And it maybe is unlike anything you've ever seen before because, well, we've just had absolutely amazing feedback with some of the design features of this plan that's just being released as we speak. And it all starts with a 25% jumpstart bonus. So if I select someone, for example, one of my friends that's going to join my business at an Excel membership, because they love the idea of really branding themselves and creating a unique look and feel for themselves online, well, that of the 400 BV or $399 would be roughly $100 that would generate. And it's going to be the same with the Prime and the Surge membership as well. So anyone I personally enroll, the first time that they spend, I'm generating 25% of that investment they made. The milestone bonuses are designed to be a really effective, really quick way to put $1,000 in your pocket. And as you move through the manager family of ranks for manager, regional, national, global manager, you can see those 4 increments all total $1,000, $1,000 US. And there's a reason for this. First of all, we want to make sure that you generate success very quickly in your business. And in doing so, it just makes it, for those of you who have perhaps never shared anything with anyone in your sphere of influence, when you're able to very quickly show profits, that you're positive cash and you're having results that you're proud of, you're happy with, well, that becomes monumentally easier to share with those. Now, there's a subsection to the milestone bonus, though. You're also going to generate a check match from anybody that you've personally sponsored. So if I personally sponsor my friend Tracy and I work with her to earn her $1,000 in milestone bonuses, I will generate a 20% check match, so another $200 US for me as well. And there's no limit to the number of people that I can help through that process and earn a 20% check match. But more than that, and really in building a really healthy rewards plan business, it's all about teamwork. It's all about caring about the people and being selective with the people you're going to work with in your business, because when you're focused on making sure that they can create the same success that you just did for yourself, well, now you're really starting to dig into the rewards plan and make sure you're properly compensated. So Tracy, for example, anyone that she helps generate that first $1,000, I still will get a check match from, and that's the level 2 10%. So I'll make $100 every time Tracy or anyone else I personally sponsored, anytime they help someone else get to that $1,000. So that's the milestones, and the purpose of the milestone bonuses to get you to positive cash as quickly as possible. The third and probably the most substantial part of this rewards plan that was called INFINII. And INFINII Pay gives you an opportunity to earn literally 10% on all growth in your business, regardless of where it comes from, regardless of who sponsored that growth, down literally infinite levels deep in your business. So this is probably something you've never seen before. This is a very expensive feature of this rewards plan. And most companies, listen, I'll just be quite frank, couldn't afford to have this part of that plan as part of their corporate offer. But this gives you so much incredible power, this INFINii Pay plan. And in about 1 minute, we'll walk through an example of that power. But literally, you have the ability to generate up to $125,000 per individual line of lineage. And that's, I personally sponsored Tracy, and I sponsored my friend Kevin, and then I sponsored my friend Dave into the business. And that can just continue to grow and grow as I help them do the same. And just like Milestone Match, we have an INFINii Pay match as well. So you actually, bonus number 4, have the ability to earn up to a 100% match of the INFINii Pay of individuals you personally sponsored. So I personally sponsored Kevin and Tracy. As I help make sure they're successful, I can earn up to a 100% match of their entire INFINii Pay. Very, very dynamic. Last thing I want to share with you, where you see the INFINii benefits, at the bottom, you can see rank advancement daily as possible. This is an absolutely amazing thing because I can grow as fast as my business wants to grow. There's no restrictions that are holding me back, and it really becomes a dynamic part of the business offering for you. So in the blue box where you see the photograph of the gentleman in the salmon colored shirt and then the 3 people he's personally sponsored, what's remarkable about this is he is actually able to drop an individual under someone else within his business, and all of the benefits, literally 100% of the benefits, can be shared with those individuals that he's dropping them underneath. I'll explain that in just a moment. First thing I want to do is I want to show you the various ranks. We've got 3 different families of ranks. There's a manager family, a director family, and an ambassador. And you can see on the far right-hand side, INFINii Pay cap all the way up, as I mentioned before, $125,000 per each individual line of lineage. So you'll see the way the plan protects itself and your business growth is you simply have a cap per line of lineage as you move through these ranks. Now, one of the best things about this is, again, I have no restriction on business volume. 5 levels deep, 7 levels deep, 10 levels deep, no restriction. Unlimited width, unlimited depth. And it really creates a situation that's remarkably powerful. Let's get into it right now. So first of all, as I mentioned before, we've got memberships, monthly memberships at $49.95, $149.95, $399.95, Prime, Surge, and Excel, as we've already discussed. But we also have builder packs available for you. And builder packs bring a little bit more value for those individuals who've decided that they want to pay for 5 months in ahead, or 6 months of access, basically, because we're going to charge them for 5 months access. And we're going to give them 1 month for free. And same thing with 12, with Prime 12, we're going to double that offering. So they'll pay for 10 months access in advance, and we're going to give them 2 months for free. And you can see exactly the same thing for Surge, and you will see the same thing for Excel coming very soon. So let's slide right into a very simple strategy to make this plan work. Step number 1 is you want to make sure you become a manager, because remember, the manager was where we earned our first milestone bonus. Now, this gives you a very rough estimate. This isn't an income guarantee. This is just an estimate for you to give you sort of some sense of where your business volume would be as you move through these ranks. So in this particular case, if I brought 3 people into my business and those 3 people happen to total at least 400 BV, 400 BV was the qualifier for me to get to manager. I become manager. I've got an estimated earnings of roughly $200, and included in that was my first milestone bonus. Now, here's the key though. Help those 3 people accomplish what I just accomplished. So 3 people at 400 BV, 3 times 400 is 1200 BV. I've just become a regional manager. And you can see my estimated earnings, but I've also just unlocked another milestone bonus, which is the $100 bonus. But remember the milestone match? I personally sponsored the first 3 individuals who have now become managers. So I'm entitled to a milestone match on the milestone bonuses that they generated. Step number 3, help those 3 or any of the 3 people become national manager. And by the way, it's important for you to understand your rank advancement is BV based only. You are not required to have a certain number of any rank within your business to advance. That's not a requirement. This is just a simple build strategy I want to share with you so you can see how very straightforward and easy this is. But I absolutely can become national manager by having, 30 or 40 managers or regional managers. I don't have to have any national managers in my business. It's very important for you to understand that. So these are not restrictions. It's quite the opposite. This is very simple and easy ways for you to move forward successfully. So you can see now my estimated earnings. I also unlocked the third milestone bonus, and now I'm accessing milestone matches number 1 and levels. And then finally, if I'm helping individuals become national, that gives me the business volume to become a global manager. You can see I'm getting some significant earnings. Unlock final $500 milestone bonus, milestone matches number level 1 and 2. And remember INFINII match, that was bonus number 4, where I'm now starting to generate a percentage of the INFINII pay of those individuals I personally sponsor. Now, here's what I love so much about this. This very simple, clear path to success just continues to extrapolate forward. So if I help enough individuals within my business, I become a director. And likewise, if I help create this type of success within my business, now I'm becoming an ambassador. So what this does is it creates a very clear roadmap for those individuals that have always aspired to significant network marketing earnings, but really never understood how they could possibly accomplish a $50,000 a year. So if you can fulfill the basic steps required to become a manager, personally sponsor 3 people, you can fulfill the steps required to an ambassador, because it's exactly the same steps. It's just more support. That's it. So you can see the plus below director. I'm generating a 30% INFINII check match. When I get to ambassador, I'm all the way up to 60% INFINII check match. And again, like I said earlier, you'll continue all the way up to a 100% match of the INFINII pay of every person you personally sponsored. And of course, you can personally sponsor as many as you want. So it's really up to you whether they all go on the front of your business or some of those people are strategically dropped underneath of them. Now, the next really exciting piece I want to share with you just for a moment is something called a holding tank. What makes the holding tank so dynamic is if I personally sponsored friend 1, 2, and 3, which you can see under, I guess I'm the guy in the salmon shirt now. You can see I've got a couple ladies and a gentleman, and I've also got 3 other people that are sponsored inside my holding tank. So essentially, this is simply an ability for me to move those individuals within the first 30 days of them joining my business. The reality is they're sitting right now on my front line, just like anyone else is, where they will stay if I allow the 30-day clock to come and to expire. However, if I want to, and I could certainly motivate others in my team by saying, listen, first person to bring someone into their business, I'll match it. So this is the kind of freedom that the holding tank brings you, and the absolute incredible opportunity it brings as well, because when you place a new partner from your holding tank under their business, the business volume is shared, so you can help them rank advance, you can help them trigger a milestone bonus, and you can also, basically all the benefits of a rewards plan. You're going to get paid on it. The BV is there. Every single benefit of the rewards plan we talked about will be now affected to the young lady in the purple dress. So it really becomes an incredibly dynamic marketing tool and a building strategy. So what I want to really express to you right now is how easy it is not only to set goals, but also reach those goals if we focus on regional manager as a very simple and easy rank to achieve, 1,200 BB, which could be as few as 2 or 3 people joining your business. Now, if I have a goal for myself, and I was recently reading a piece of news in regards to the number of bankruptcy filings, not only in the US, but in Canada recently. And what was really alarming to me was that they said statistically about 80% of those bankruptcies would actually be avoided with about an extra $400 coming into that household. An extra $400 would avoid family having to declare bankruptcy. Now, regional manager is a rank that you very easily could reach in your first week in business, and that would give you more than enough to manage that particular circumstance. So now, if you remember the example, we had the regional manager was yellow. The circle was yellow behind, whereas the circle was blue behind everyone else. And that's because regional manager for INFINII is actually a very important objective that we really want not only you to reach as soon as possible, but a goal and a target that we want you to extend to others. Because we're going to have special regional manager events all around the world, And we're going to make sure that that becomes a primary target for all of our members to reach as quickly as possible. There'll be additional bonuses that will be laid out by the ownership of INFINii for regional managers. Some very exciting stuff is going to happen to you when you reach the rank of regional manager. But more than that, it becomes a building block. So it becomes now much easier for you to start to set the goals, the longer term goals that you may have for yourself. So if you want to reach global or manager, or if you want to reach senior director, or if you even want to reach ambassador, now you have a unit that you can build with. Helping 500 people become regional manager? Absolutely. I'll commit the next 36 months to, if it means that I could generate that kind of an income, for certain. And so once you start to understand how to get there yourself, do it yourself, and then simply teach others how to do the same, you'll find very quickly that this is probably, actually I should remove the word probably. This is the most exciting opportunity that you've had an opportunity to be exposed to. Not only because e-commerce is an absolute monster and is going nowhere, but because of the simplicity of this rewards plan and how much this plan benefits all those participating. So there's 3 steps I'd like you to consider at this particular point. First of all, I'd encourage you to contact the person that asked you to attend this presentation or view this presentation. And then secondly, select which platform is most appropriate for you in getting started. The third thing I'd like you to do is really seriously consider hitting the rank of manager in your first 30 days. And I would also challenge you to make sure that all your $1,000 in milestone bonuses are earned within your first 60 days. So with that, I want to thank you so much for your time and attention. It's been my privilege to be sharing this information with you. If this is something that you can see yourself participating in, please get back to the guests that asked you and certainly do your due diligence, because the offering that INFINii has become is nothing short of mind-blowing. And we certainly encourage you to be part of this, this movement over the coming years, and would welcome you to do so. Thanks very much for your time and attention.